The quoll used to range all across these lands, but it hasn't been seen here for over 100 years. That makes it extinct in this area.
A quoll is a cute little native marsupial that's also carnivorous, and that makes them one of the important middle order predators before whitefellas came in and changed things dramatically.
I like their little attitude. They're just full of spunk, you know, they're a little bit punky, they just, I don't know, they've got a bit of chewed. So they're just fun animals to work with. So.
The quoll used to range all across Australia, all down the east coast, across southern Australia and into Western Australia, some up here in the Pilbara and some down here in the Tasmania. That's the eastern quoll. But they wiped out all of the eastern seaboard, and there's a small pocket left in Western Australia, the western quoll. So what they took was some quolls from WA, they've put them in to Wilpena Pound, and the breeding program has gone so well that they'll be able to take some of those and they're going to put them up here in Vulkathunha-Gammon Ranges.
We can't leave traps open during the day with bait in them because you get things going in during the day and they might get sunstruck. So we just bait them up in the afternoon and then we see what we caught in the morning.
So we're trying to catch 18 females and 7 males for the translocation to the Gammon Ranges.
It's quite an involved process actually. We have to get all the animals out of the traps within about 3 hours of sunrise. So that usually means getting up an hour or so before sunrise and getting out there early and processing the animals.
There's a lot of work involved. I think a lot of people think you just pick up animals and move them. Well, it's really dusty. But you have to get all the approvals to take animals and move them, get translocation plans into the government. You want to have a look at this one? Then you've got to look at all the logistics, and if most of the time you're working out in remote areas, and so logistics is a bit harder. Not too bad actually. Yeah.
We measure some things like the head length and foot length so that we can assess the size and age of the animal and also the weight and body condition.
Oh, this one's a nice young boy, but probably might be too young.
We've just completed our trapping for the translocation and yeah, everyone's just blown away with the numbers that we caught.
Because it's the first release to the Gammon Ranges, we want to know survivorship and what they're doing and how they're going. And so these collars all have mortality signals on them. So if anything happens like cat predation or bird predation or anything like that, we'll be able to tell what's happening. Most of the collars are pretty small. We always put collars on that's only less than 5% of the body weight, so it's not too heavy on the animal.
We've been monitoring them with trapping and camera since we put them in, and over the last 2 years the cameras are showing that they're spreading outside the park now.
And the recent survey indicates the population within the reintroduction area continues to climb in what is, by charts, a sensational season. And so it'll give the quolls a really good start. Ultimately what we want to do is connect up the populations from here at Vulkathnaha down right through the spine of the Flinders down to Ikara-Flinders Ranges National Park and beyond.
Tonight when they come here, we're going to make a bit of fire here, and we would like to see the animals come there so they can smell the smoke. And me and Cliff, the two of us, we will give them welcome back to country. Wanga yur naurang o unyo naurang na nungu wanga yur naurang na yelo unyo naurang.
Inang yananganura, Ngopole-Tanga, Adnyamathanha, Wondu yananganura, Wondu waninura, Idnya angananura.
Welcome to you people, welcome to the Idnya, back on country. The Idnya lived in this country years ago. Now it's returning back to country.
We're glad to see this animal back here again. But they were here because our people told us about them. And we knew what they sort of looked like too.
It's incredible that those stories have been carried on so that even though they recognised these animals by a different name, they knew that this was the creature they'd heard of in their childhood. The quoll, or the Idnya as they call it, it was a totemic species and has lived in their storylines and dreaming stories for generations.
Well, I'm really looking forward to see him be released back to country.
Same here, yeah.
I guess the point of difference between it and so many other reintroduction programs around Australia is that we don't have fences.
A big part of the Bounceback and Bounceback and Beyond program is supporting the removal of cats and foxes and other feral animals, goats, that really negatively impact the habitat for the native species to thrive and survive.
So when we release the western quolls, we put them in their little travel box and on the ground, and we open the bags up and kind of back away and let them come out themselves so they're not too scared. Some of them will jump out straight away, they're ready to go, and some will just sit in the box and wait around. Most of them are somewhat relaxed when you're handling, but some of them can be a little bit feisty, so you kind of never know what you're going to get until you've got it.
So they were essentially trapped one night, checked, measured, processed that morning, radio collared, and then that night they were running around in a whole new bit of country.
Yep.
Our quoll's over that way a bit there, picking up the signal for that. Yeah, because hear how strong that one is? Radio tracking's like a game of cat and mouse, like you're trying to hunt it down.
How often do you go out monitoring them?
Every day when we first start the translocation, because we want to make sure they're going okay, like their survivalship. We'll keep walking down that way a bit because it might be up in that bottom of those hills over there.
You're saying you've got 25 quolls scattered across 3 different locations, and you want to go and find every one of them every day for a month?
Yeah, we try to find everyone every day, but obviously some of them travel huge distances, so we don't always get every animal. And if we can't, we will use the local light aircraft and go up and see if we can pick them up and get a good signal. And the signal's getting louder as we're getting closer in, so we're getting closer to the animal. I might go for a bit of a climb up there just to check where it is. Found it. Hey little fella. I think it's really good to get the species back into areas that they once occurred. It's really exciting to have that predator back in the ecosystem again.
You know, if they survive down at Ikara,
They can survive
They
up
can
here.
survive up here, so, you know.
Because they were here before.
Yeah, they were here before.
So it's good to see our native cats back into our environment. We're proud of them.
Yeah, they're coming back to country, and we're just a good start.